Hey, thanks for watching my video. Today we're going to put the plastic back onto our 2000 Honda VFR 800 Fi. If there's anything I hate more in life is pulling plastic off a motorcycle. Fortunately, the VFR is pretty easy to do. It's just very time consuming. So usually when I do my VFR 800, I get the plastic lined up and then I go ahead and I use one of the wider screws that comes with it, and I get that the big screw mounted. And only do your screws finger tight. Don't tighten them down until the last thing. Nothing good's going to come out of this if you tighten down the first one, and then by the time you're at the third bolt, you don't have any play. There's no slop in the plastic to allow you to line up the rest of the bolts. So just put them in loose and then work your way around. There's always time when you're done to go back and hit each one of them and tighten them up. So right now, if you're questioning, I put the shinier ones out. So this bike's 21 years old at this point. So I put the shinier bolts to where you can see them, and then the dirty bolts from where the front wheel has sprayed mud and road debris up on the bolts and kind of sandblasted them. I try to put those back to where in a location where they can't be seen. And then usually the bolts that I can see when I'm riding and looking down at the handlebars, I try to keep those the newest looking, because I like to look at clean motorcycles rather than kind of old, worn, dingy, dirty motorcycles. Unless it's a Harley Davidson. The best place for a Harley Davidson is on a chain at the bottom of the ocean holding your boat in place. So that's a little bit of McGuire's detailer. The holes where these screws go into was a little bit dirty, dusty. So I went ahead and I polished that up so it looks prettier when I put the screw down. And usually that's from when you clean your bike, you don't clean close to the screws usually. Now the screw that I'm working on right now is the one closest to the gas tank. So I had a problem with this one. The little fastener with the threads wouldn't accept the screw. So you'll see me coming back later in the video and replacing that one. Because right now it went in, but it threaded down into just the plastic. It never caught the brass fitting inside the rubber grommet to tighten it down. But you see, I'm just getting these screws finger tight. I'm not tightening them down. This allows me to actually move the plastic around and line stuff up. So we've got pretty much all the main screws are in place right now, so we can tighten all these fairing, the ones that are external that you can see. We can tighten these down, and pretty much everything else is going to line up after this. There's really only the two more that are going on the lower cowl behind the rear wheel that need to line up, and without the other side mounted, it's pretty easy to move that black cowling around and line those screws up. So I'm using a socket right now. It's just a hex head socket wrench. Well, mainly because the handlebars are in the way. It makes it too hard for me to get my T-handle in. So right now is when I notice that this screw is not going in. If you're turning it forever and it's not going, you probably have an issue and you need to uh, take the plastic apart and recognize what's going on. So I have the little rubber grommet, and here's what I'm talking about, this little rubber thing. So that's the OEM Honda one that is 21 years old, and here's what a brand new one looks like. It's not been crushed for the last 20 years. So I'm just going to lift the plastic up and drop it down in the hole where that mounts, and then once I put the screw in, it's going to pull that tight, and by the next time that I take this apart, that rubber will have molded to the fairing stay where it's mounted to, so I don't have to worry about losing that rubber again, and it'll be good for another 20 years, let's hope anyway. This is definitely one of the jobs that I don't like doing on my VFR, is removing the plastic. Like I said, it's not difficult, it's just so time consuming. Some of the newer sport bikes are even worse. So I'm just coming around and I'm tightening up all the bolts now. I guess it could be worse. I could put one of those Chinese body kits on my bike, and it seems like those holes never line up on those Chinese aftermarket body kits. So at least my bike hasn't been down yet, and the bodywork still looks decent. That's been pretty lucky for me. 21 years, 54,000 miles, and I haven't dropped this bike yet, so that's good on me. Lucky. It's all just luck. It's all luck. I would probably cry if I dropped this VFR. The only reason I bought this bike was because it was yellow. So now a quick jump over to the right side, and we'll just finish putting the screws into this thing.